I love all the
Look at that.
I love all the posters and the music you have back there. Can I live at your house?
Hey, anytime.
It
Anytime.
looks super fun.
Come by. Are you still making any music?
I got my guitar here, and I'm learning new like riffs and things all the time. I'm not making music right now, but I'm certainly thinking about it. It never leaves me, and so, but I'm not making any music right now.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So how much can we talk about From? Can we give away any plot points here, or is that all still kind of hush-hush?
Well, I think that the whole series, once it drops, it's all going to be there, and it's going to be a matter of who binges it or not. So I think we can kind of talk about it in sort of general terms, but like I think it'll be, really cool for people to explore it. And so we don't want to give them too much. How about that? Right. We'll give them some, but not
fair enough.
Yeah.
We can say that Jack Bender's name shows up at the beginning of the episode, right?
Exactly. That won't spoil anything.
Right? And I mean, at that point, I knew I was in good hands. So,
hey, I had the same feeling when I was told that Jack Bender was going to be the person who was directing this, so our executive director, and they were like, "Oh, to horror." I was like, "Oh, horror. I don't know." But then I read it and I was like, "No, this is Jack Bender's world. He can make us feel really, really great." And so I was really excited to know that he was there. He was helming it, and he was going to, lead us through this whole thing. So it's really a good thing that he's there.
Nice. What is that like for you as a director? Do you have a shorthand with him already because you've worked with him so much before?
I don't know if we have a shorthand, but we have a trust, a real trust. And I really have worked with Jack Bender for way before even Lost. One of my first jobs in television ever, and I was a small character on a show. Like I would leave acting class to get on a plane to go do this job. Jack Bender was the director. It's called I'll Fly Away. And so we certainly at this point in our lives have a real trust with each other. And like I said, when I found out he was doing it was like, oh, okay, there's nothing that I have to worry about outside of making these words come out of my mouth in a really authentic way. And I think he trusts me to do that. And so, yeah, when we get there, I never question a direction that he has. I never question like a shot that he wants to do. I don't have one question about it because I'm sure he's got a really great idea. He's such a visual guy. He's also a painter as well. And so like he sees things, he tells stories visually really, really well. And so, and he also understands the dramatic connections that all the characters have to make it. So it's really fun to work with him on that.
What were you first shown about this show? Were you given an outline or a full script? What was initially given to you?
Originally, I got the very first episode, which is really quite scary. Like from the onset, you see the stakes with the little kid and stuff like that. And so from the time it started until the end of that first episode, I was like, this is really crazy writing, but really, really good and really sort of heart-wrenching. And it made me curious about, who these people were, what the dynamics were. You see really early on in the very first episode that Boyd, who's our sheriff and is taking care of the town, is living in one part of the town, but his son is living somewhere else. And he's sort of watching over shoulders, but they're not connected. And you think this is a place that's really scary. You could die at any point. Why would the father and son not be communicating? They're the two people they should trust. And as that all unfolds in the first season, you get to go, oh, wow. And so that's really fun. And so, that hopefully I answered your question.
Oh, yeah, you did.
I'm starting to roundabout now.
As far as opening scenes go, From has a wonderful one where you're morosely walking down this nondescript town, ringing a bell,
right.
Sort of herding people into their homes. And I mean, my mind immediately went to he's ringing a dinner bell, which, you kind of are.
Kind of am, yeah. Yeah, kind of. So, yeah, that's really fun. And then you meet really right away, you meet this beautiful young family and something's a little off and then it goes from there. And it's just wow. For me, it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, wow. Oh, that's what we're doing? Is that what's happening? And, you know, I mean, the stakes are immediate. And so I love that about it. It makes you really scared right away and then go like, oh, how are we getting out of this? How do these people get out of this? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when you meet the Matthews family, you're like, oh boy, are you guys screwed?
Right. And the daughter, Julie, like one of her first lines while she's interacting with her brother is when you're dead, you're gone. And that just, you know, total foreshadowing.
It's really well written. John is such a great writer. So it is one of the things I really appreciate about it. I mean, there are many things I appreciate about it, but like you said, when I got the first script, it's the writing, and the writing is really solid, really there. And so I think people will really dig it. They'll be intrigued by it.
Nice. Is there an element to Boyd that you really wanted to bring to that character when you were fleshing him out and, you know, doing some of your initial scenes?
One of the things I wanted to do is like, you know, Boyd is like sort of an archetype, you know, the gruffy old guy who's kind of like, fix everything. And so what I really like to do when I'm working is I really like to find out who the human being is in that person, and try to bring that part out. Like sometimes you could just play the character just, you know, a certain way because that's how the world is going to expect it. But what I wanted to try to find is some of the more nuanced things about Boyd, about his life, about the reasons he's there. I'm really intrigued about people who are of service, whether you go into politics or the military or whatever. Like I'm always really intrigued about giving over that part of your life for a bigger ideal. Do you know what I mean? We live in a world sometimes where people can be very selfish. So people who aren't, I'm always curious about them. And so I wanted to sort of flesh out some of those things about Boyd because he really is a man of service, and he's in a really tough spot right now. so yeah, he's gonna have to figure that out.
Can you talk a little bit about what the atmosphere was like filming on set?
You know, actually, we have a great cast of people, and so on set everything is really fun. But it's, you know, we're sometimes way out. We're here in Halifax, and sometimes it's a beautiful place. Look, I'm from the city. I'm a city kid, so if you put me out in the woods, it gets a little freaky for me. Like it gets a little scary, and so sometimes we're out there and just, you know, it's in the dark, and you're worried about wacky things, ticks, deer, like it's stuff like that you know, animals that so it can be scary already. And then when you add the element of you don't fully see the creatures in the beginning. You get a flash of them, but when you actually see them, yeah, they're grotesque. And so it's a lot of you know, we're trying to live in the moment, but also, you know, not be overtaken by the moments. And so there's a lot of camaraderie. We have a great crew that really work hard, and our cast is really committed to trying to really bring all of this stuff to life because it's so fantastical that, you know, you could easily just, you know, play the parts like, you know, you can play them silly, but if you play them with a real kind of urgency, a human urgency, it makes it a lot more fun to watch, I think. And I think our cast does that really well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm just going to wrap up with saying that the show has been optioned for a second season. Is there anything that you're hoping for in the next?
We are filming the second season as we speak. I'm here in Halifax again, and everything I was hoping for is happening. Like we come right out the gate for the very first couple of episodes, and they are fantastic. So I'm really excited for finally people in Canada to get to see it, because we've been in Canada shooting it. And we really should show it to the people in Canada. And so that's important. And yeah, it's going really well. And so I couldn't be happier.
Awesome. Thanks for your time, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it, Mike.
Cheers.